Good morning. Board is called to order. Now we are at Hunt Correctional Center. Warden, would you introduce yourself and your staff?
I'm Deputy Warden Benjamin Maddox.
Christy LeBlanc, classification.
Joe Buttress, Assistant Warden.
Okay, thank you. Also on the panel with me today, my name is Pete Freeman. I'll be the acting chair. Ms. Ledoux is to my left and Mr. Tillis is to my right. Okay, so I'm gonna read some stuff into the record and please tell me if anything's wrong with what I say, Mr. Brown. Okay, Mr. Brown, you are a first felony offender. Your parole date is 2/19/2024. You're not eligible for good time. Your full term date is 6/20/26. You received a 3-year and 6-month sentence for molestation of a juvenile. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Could you tell us why you think we should let you out today and tell us what happened? What were you doing?
Well, what happened during that time period?
Yes.
It was approximately about 16 years ago. She walked in on me in the bedroom and she tried to tickle me from behind when I came out of the shower. And that's when everything started happening back then. And I tried to tell her, you know, to get out the room, but she kept on and kept on. She kept asking me questions and stuff like that. And one thing led to another, and what happened after that, I was really highly ashamed of. You know, I should never have happened. I beat myself up for about 16 years and made myself sick. But she touched me. That's as far as it went for us, touching me and stuff like that. And I've been ashamed of it ever since. It should never happen. And I've been trying to find a way to forgive myself for the things I have done, because I was in deep shame. So I went back to church, looked for answers, went back to my Bible, looked for answers, and I have found the answers I've been looking for in order for me to, what I have done and I should have never done. And I think during that time period, I believe it was I kept telling her mama to keep her out of the room. I had to put a lock on my door because she always like to play, like grandpa, like all my grandchildren always like to play, stick behind you, tickle you. And that's how it all started. And I came out the shower, and like I said, I'm ashamed of it. If it never had happened, I made myself sick over that. And it's disgusting. I should never have done that. I shouldn't have allowed that to even happen. I mean, all the children I helped raise, I have 2 nieces and grandmothers now. I raised my granddaughter, and she still lives with us. She's like 23 right now. That was the only time I didn't want that ever happened. Like I said, I have deep regrets for having someone that trusted me, and I ruined that trust. You know, I prayed several times a day since that happened. I actually God to forgive me for that, because I cannot forgive myself. I cannot. And like I say, I really ate up about that.
Okay. All right. Warden, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I don't have anything to add, sir.
Okay, I'm talking, Mr. Brown, you have anything else you'd like to say? I saw you look down at your paperwork.
Yes, sir. I have a lot of Bible courses I have taken because I can't find
We have all of your courses you took.
Yes, sir, I have a whole bunch of them that I have taken.
Right.
And also certificates.
Yes, sir, we got them all.
Yes, sir, I have, my wife was trying to say, was she able to do anything because of condition?
They have copies.
Huh?
They have copies of it. The board has copies of everything.
Oh, you do have copies? Oh,
Yes,
good.
sir.
Oh, I'm glad. I didn't think it made it through.
No, I got all of that.
Oh, okay. You have the letters everybody wrote from my church
I do.
and also the one my son wrote?
Yep, I got you. We got all of that in our file. I don't know the son rather. It's all in file. Yes, sir. We have everything in the file.
Oh, okay, I didn't know you even received it. I was worried about that. It really was. Because like my son, he wrote it like I'm proud of the letter he wrote. You know, because he one time he was, he worked with Mauricia Parole. Now he's a school teacher, which I'm proud of my son. He's been doing good. And his granddaughter, my granddaughter, his daughter, is fixing to be a lawyer. I'm kind of proud of her too, you know? But that's all I have to say, sir. I mean, I don't, that I'm really, really, really ashamed of what happened. And I guarantee you, that's not ever gonna, I mean, have raised a lot of children.
Okay.
But that's, like I say, I beat myself up today, even today, I still beat myself up for that.
Okay.
I pray to God that forgiveness, but thank you anyway, sir. Oh, Sister Karen, Joanne.
Okay. All right, let's move on. In favor, we have Stacy Brown, your sister. Miss Brown, what do you want to tell us?
Hi, I wanted to echo the sentiments of my brother. I know throughout his life, he's been a responsible person, has raised children and grandchildren. And even when I was growing up, as far as I knew, nothing has ever happened with any of us growing up, being around him besides that. Um, he's been a respectable person in the community. Um, he's been in the military in the past as far as the Marines and the National Guard. He's also been an employee of the prison system in the past. And he's always been active in volunteer work in his with the fire department and with the like at the VFW hall and things like that. And I know that whatever decision you do make, we all will respect that decision. But if he is allowed to go back home and serve out the remainder of his parole and even for the rest of his life, he will adhere to whatever stipulations are going to be placed on his freedom, because I know a charge like this is serious. And then once he's back out into the community, he will have to, make sure he doesn't do certain things and don't go to certain places. So I know that he'll be there to follow whatever rules that are set forth for him. And I personally am worried about his health and his wife's health, because they are older and have a lot of different medical issues. And they've often just been there both for each other because they've been married for, I think, almost 50 years now, 46 years. So I know that they need each other just to help make it through, day-to-day life, that kind of thing. So.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Malvina Blackledge.
Sister.
Half sister, is she on?
Yes, hi.
No, she. Who's speaking? Okay, you're not speaking, okay, but I just wanted to notify that you were on, okay?
Well, if
All
you have
right,
a question, I'll answer it.
Ma'am?
If you
No,
have
ma'am,
any
we don't have
questions,
a question, no, ma'am. But, thank you for being here in support. Okay, now we're gonna go to the opposition. First, we will go to Robin Papera, the victim's friend. Robin, what do you have to tell us?
I'm actually the victim's aunt.
Okay,
Yeah, so my mom is actually Gilbert Brown's sister-in-law. There's some backstory to this, which makes this extra upsetting and heinous. In the 1980s, actually, my sister went to live with my aunt and my uncle in Louisiana after actually being molested by her father. So my sister is Shyla's, the victim's mother. So my sister was molested and she went to live with Gilbert and my aunt as a solace. So she left North Carolina and went to Louisiana. Obviously, sadly, history repeated itself in Louisiana. So my sister, after a divorce from her husband and being stranded in Washington State, actually came to live with me in the 90s in North Carolina. That's where she had Shyla, who was an innocent, obviously, little girl, 3 years old when she went to live in Louisiana with Gilbert and Karen. And Gilbert actually used the term 16 years. So if you subtract that from how old Shyla is today, she was under the age of 5. So Stephanie, my sister, didn't actually think that Gilbert would hurt her daughter. My sister's not alive to stand up for her daughter or herself, unfortunately. Before she died, she actually put in testimony that the same thing had happened to her by both my father and I don't know what the correct word is, but potentially Gilbert. So my sister as well. I actually view Gilbert as an opportunistic monster. The fact that this had happened to my sister and now she had her little girl living in the same home is unusually just cruel. We would find out later that it wasn't just Shyla, that there was like extra harassment going on with Stephanie as well. The fact that my uncle, who we trusted, would do this to a little girl for so long is just absolutely abhorrent. Shyla would actually grow up to be an outcast with outbursts and antisocial. She was admitted to a mental health facility in her teens for harming herself and for trying to commit suicide. And through therapy is actually how we found out that she had been molested, not because Gilbert felt guilty and the need to repent through the Bible. It was actually the victim who came forward and said, "This happened to me," by someone who she trusted, who was supposed to have protected her, not preyed on her. Shyla would be able to describe parts of Gilbert's body in detail to prove that she did, that what happened to her happened. And she's not here today, there with you, because she's still not mentally well from what happened to her. She's not a productive member of society. She's not Gilbert's children who have done incredibly well and a granddaughter who is going to be an attorney. She's not that because she was abused. And it was, again, heinous. The research, and I'm sure you all know this, shows that without intense therapy, child molesters will likely commit the same crime again within 2 to 5 years. And 90% of those abused are abused by somebody they know and trust. And those abusers, luckily, this one apparently recognizes what he did was wrong. Maybe he can be rehabilitated, maybe not. But Shyla has received a lifetime of pain. She'll never be that same 3-year-old who went to live in Louisiana for solace. I hear an apology, but I don't know that I feel that apology. I don't know that rehabilitation therapy has happened while he's been there. And he does have access to other children in his life and will have access to more in the future. The average sentence for a child sexual offender is 211 months in the United States. And many don't see prison at all. I'm thankful that Gilbert has seen prison. This sentence was significantly under what the average is. To release him is unjust to Shyla and the other children to whom he may have access. I ask that parole actually be denied, that his short sentence for hurting a child isn't enough as it stands. He was a volunteer fireman, a prison guard employed by the state, and most importantly, a trusted uncle. He violated a child and all that he stood for in those trusted positions. I think my opinion is to keep him where he is in prison.
I'll wrap it up. Okay,
Thank
thank you. Thank you. Okay,
Therefore, these two.
Denise Strickland, friend.
She's not anymore. She's not speaking.
Okay. Uh, Mr. Thomas Moore?
Yes, sir.
Okay, would you approach the podium and tell us what you have to say, sir?
Hard to even know where to start with it. How did it impact our family? How did it impact Shiloh? When my sister, when I found out what happened, I actually took custody of my niece. I'm a single man, have 3 businesses, but I believe every child should have a chance and be protected and not hurt. This is a generational issue in my family, which all the family knows about. When my sister and brother were originally sent to Louisiana, it was to be protected by my aunt and my uncle. They invited them into their homes. They offered my mother the help that they felt she needed. At that time, Stephanie had already been sexually abused, and only a predator would see that and see that he has another opportunity to do it again, which is what happened. I was present when I found out what happened with Shiloh. My sister's first words to my face, and I was a witness of it, is that SOB did the same thing to me. When I looked at her and asked her how could she leave her child alone with him in disgust of her, which I'm sad I looked at her that way because it's generational, and I don't think that she ever got help. But she said he told me he only had a thing for me. There is no doubt in God's grand creation that this was not a mistake. There is no doubt in God's grand creation that he is anything less than a pedophile or a monster. And there is no doubt that he will do it again. In front of all of y'all just now, he pointed out every way that some little 4-year-old girl made a mistake. How can a 4-year-old girl make a mistake? He didn't say he made a mistake. He put it on her. On top of that, took 4 years to even get him to walk into a police department here in Louisiana. I fought that battle myself for 4 years, by myself, with no help. I found every piece of evidence Louisiana needed to convict him, from forensic interviews from police departments to committing my niece into a hospital in Cumberland, Virginia, and driving every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. The only parent out of all of them to support their child. Louisiana lost all the evidence. They call me up and tell me 3 DAs in, we're real sorry, Mr. Moore. This case is the oldest case on the docket, and unfortunately, there's not enough evidence to try it, and we're going to drop it. I went and found as much evidence as I can and recovered it and brought it to the new DA. And she told me that I should feel lucky. They offered a 3.5-year plea deal for Gilbert, and I should feel lucky that he got that. The ball has been dropped everywhere. It would be a huge injustice just on itself. My sister, I love her. I'm glad she heard an apology. I did not. I heard a man blame everyone for everything except for owning his heinous act. And he should be there for 35 years, not 3.5. I would lose all faith in justice if he did not stay there.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your comment. Okay, now we will have Mr. Butch Wilson, 22nd JDC, Assistant DA.
Yes, sir. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm sorry Mr. Moore took issue with the prosecution of this case. I can assure him that we handled it to the best of our abilities and based on the proof that was present. Having said that, on behalf of the district attorney, I'm a bit confused about what Mr. Brown thinks he did wrong. I heard a lot of hemming and hawing during his speech or whatever it was a few minutes ago. He continues to maintain this ridiculous story that this child walked in on him while he was masturbating. That is not what the child related. That's not what he pled guilty to. What he has come here to tell you today is that he is sorry for the fact that he's in jail, but he really didn't do anything wrong. That flies in the face of the proof in this case, and it is more than an adequate basis for this man to serve every single bit of his sentence. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you getting on with us today.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Brown, your case has been assigned to me, so I'm gonna ask the questions. I'm not gonna ask a lot of questions because quite frankly, I don't think I need to ask a lot. First thing you did was blame it on the child. Man, that gets under my skin. You blamed it on the child. You had to lock the child out. I mean, I'm sorry. I have no question.
Mr. Brown, I have no questions. I think that everything we've seen today will be indicative in our vote.
I have no questions.
Okay, we're gonna vote now. I vote first. As I said, I see no taking of responsibility. I see no remorse due to victim opposition and law enforcement opposition. My vote today is to deny your parole.
My vote is also to deny based on victim and law enforcement opposition.
My vote's also to deny. I concur with Mr. Chairman.
Okay, your parole has been denied.